Alright, so I'm on a scouting mission today. Get some water nearby. So I think it's going to be somewhere around here. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. That's why I'm out looking. So the goal is to find a place to set up a shelter. It's got to be long term. It's going to last for a while. But, you know, if it gets discovered somehow, I'm pretty good at camouflaging things. But if it gets discovered, then I simply just, it's like a big issue. Then I just take my things and I leave. They need me to, I take it down and, you know, move on. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll just go do this somewhere else. But, of course, don't tell them that. But the important thing is knowing how to do it. Yeah, it would suck to have your work taken down. But at least you got that practice in, and chances are when you did it, you probably learned a bunch of other better ways to do what you were doing. You learn from every project, so... For anyone who's new here, I teach skills occasionally on how to be independent. And to do it in the most simplistic, basic, cost-effective, and overall effective way possible. And every day is a learning experience. So when I learn new information, I change my mind. And I just go in the direction of truth. For me, it's the truth in all things. Not just what I want to hear, not what I want to believe. So this isn't about, the hell was I going to say? This isn't about me assuming that everybody is like, you know, on board with this. I don't think this is going to be for everybody. Definitely not. And I think for the ones that it may be the lifestyle for, I think it's going to take those people quite a while to really get with it. And I don't say that to be insulting. I just mean there's a lot of prep involved. You got to really like know what you're doing. And we were supposed to learn this stuff from our parents and our other family members when we were younger, because that was the original system that worked the best way. But unfortunately, this system decided we were its children, and it put us into its brainwashing academies to literally set you and I up to be full-time job slaves. And that's all it was. Even the system they established in the school, you know, the bell rings, you switch classes, you're repeating the same tasks over and over and over again. You have to answer to a teacher, or rather a boss. For later it will be a boss, but the teacher is like the boss or the principal. You're told how to behave, when you can have free time. You're even told how to create. So, you know, why do it their way? How is that gone for the whole world? And I don't know about you, because I can't speak for you. I don't want to do that. But for me, when I'm out in society, if I'm out in the middle of a city or even a busy town area, sitting in traffic, going into crowded stores, it really starts to drain my energy. And I realize not everybody is ready to believe that like magic is actually real, and that we do have real abilities that we're being prevented from accessing, and that we're eternal beings. I know not everyone's on board with that, and that's fine, because I know everybody will see that that's the truth. So it's only a matter of time until they wake up. But, you know, like, if you want to put it in perspective, let's say, like, this were a movie. Like, picture it like an interactive movie or just a video game. And all of the secrets of magic have been covered up, not erased. And we were put at every disadvantage imaginable to brainwash us, to get us into the system, to weaken us, to hypnotize us, to take away our natural forces like anger and rage, things that really add to our power and make sure that we can't be controlled. We were punished for expressing them, literally trained, as in brainwashed from a young age. So why did they do all this? Why would you need to do that to someone in the first place? To get them under your control, What are you afraid of? If they're just a lowly human and they can really do nothing to threaten you, what are you afraid of? Why even bother? Surely you don't need them to run your system. And if they are a threat to you, why not just kill them? Just get rid of them. It's pretty simple. So why waste their best learning years on nonsense? Why was that so crucial? If you want the exact reason, I'll tell you one of them. It was necessary to do that to us because in the event that any of us tried to escape the prison, in the event that any of us woke up, which I'm sure they figured well in advance would eventually happen, just a matter of how much that individual is willing to wake up and how far they're willing to take it. I'm one of those that's going to take it all the way. All the way. And I know that's the only way that will lead me home. So why did they need to do that? Why waste all those years teaching you nonsense that doesn't really apply in the real world? How come they weren't teaching us how to work with nature? How come they weren't teaching us from an early age how to do woodworking? Or steelcraft? Or shelter building? Or foraging? How come they weren't teaching any of the things that, in a country that supposedly stands for freedom, otherwise known as America? Why would they not teach you how to get it? Or at least to be prepared in the event that you don't like their system. You don't like their system and you want out. But now look at that. You don't have the skills or the knowledge to get out. I haven't been up here yet, but this is kind of funny because this is how I pictured it. I was visualizing this. Here, though, there's too much of a chance that somebody might discover where I am, so I would have to be a little bit more thorough. It's kind of cool. Like, we got a labyrinth of little pine trees. So again, not to get distracted, but why would they do this to so many of us? And again, if you're so powerless, if you're really who you believe you are, who they taught you that you are, then why do that to you at all if you're no threat? What do they not want you finding? What do they not want you seeing? What do they not want you realizing? And if you're somebody who sees that this is why this is happening, because I'm telling you, this is why. It's one of the reasons. Otherwise, why the need? You don't brainwash somebody for no reason. There's always a reason. And that reason is usually to control them and to get them to be your slave. And it has nothing to do with their own well-being. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. But at least point out why. Why go to these lengths to enslave so many of us? And I realize the masses, they don't really count because a lot of them, they like it. They like this world and they enjoy going to a full-time job and they want to get married and have a bunch of kids and they want the car and the house and this and that, yada, yada, yada. We've been through it so many times. But, so they're, I mean, really forget about them. Just forget that they even matter at all because they really don't at this point. Everyone has the responsibility one way or another to figure this out for themselves. But in my case, just to restate a little bit of what was said in the last video, I look at it as a way to break the chains, to figure out what the chains are in the first place. What was the root cause? What did it come from? Why was it put there? Why was it wrapped so tightly around me with a locking mechanism? Where is the key that breaks the lock? The key is within me. I am the key. I am the master key that breaks each lock. I cannot be copied. I am unique, so I'm the one that's going to be able to break the spell over me. Same applies to you. I'm just pointing out some of the ways that we've been spellbound, and also what to do about them, or at least some of the possible solutions. It may not be the best solution for you, but hopefully it spurs you on to get ideas about what will be. But I'll tell you what, it's not looking good for anybody who stays fully engaged in this system. The complete digital takeover is very obvious by now. Very obvious. And if you don't see that, you have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of thinking to do. It's gotten to the point where it just simply is what it is. No apology needed for saying things like that. It doesn't matter how offensive it is. People who are completely asleep never want to hear it. They hate when that alarm goes off. Why even take them seriously anymore? Why even listen to them? If the whole world had it right, you would see a great result from all of that. I'll put it that way. But ask yourself, if you can afford to do this, I realize a lot of people can't, and it's a damn shame. You wonder why the system is so restrictive. It doesn't want you trying different things. I mean, you literally have to make this stuff happen. But ask yourself, why does it not want me taking a vacation for very long? Why is that strongly discouraged? And if you do take a vacation, oh, look at that. You got to spend money and go to a different state and get a hotel with a pool and go to this theme park and that theme park so you can spend more money. Look, I'm sand skating. I mean, seriously, think about the whole system. Just add it all up. This would be a really good area. Water, tons and tons of rocks. This is excellent. I will take what I damn well please. This comes from nature. I will take what I damn well please. I think I stated nearby the beginning of this video, if I'm not mistaken. And if I didn't, forgive me, but you know, picture this like a movie or just like an interactive video game. Let's say you find out that's exactly what it is. Well, who is your character and what do they do? Let's say the theme, there's actually a storyline where the goal is to get out of all of this. It had to be really, really bad so that we created our response, which is really, really awesome. It was exactly what forced us to dig deep and break the chains ourselves. And picture now that when you break all those chains, you get your magic. What if it's just that nobody's ever done it yet? What if no one has ever met the requirements in this simulation? And let's say that it's even a perfectly fair game. Whoever wins simply wins. Everyone on, that side of things, evil, whatever you want to call it, everyone voluntarily involved in lies, is the enemy. And they're going to continue whooping our asses until we can whoop them back. And that's the only way that it will ever be. Picture that you somehow are able to realize that those are actually the real rules that still exist. Picture that. You find out that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what you and I are in right now. Now let's say there was a little, milestone point in that video game where the one, or those, not the one, but those who are willing to reconnect to the natural and actually have the bravery to get out of the technological takeover system are granted magical ability. Because in order to have that ability in a world like this is just a theory. I'm not crazy for talking about a theory. This could actually very likely be what's really happening. I know we have magical ability. Like, this is something I'm sure of. So the only question now is, how do we bring that here? I could tell you a few ways, actually. And I will display that I know how to do this. I will show you my version of it. It takes a lot of thought and a lot of heart. But I know that there's a lot more where that came from. That's the thing. So all of this, like, whether totally true or totally false, I don't think it could ever be totally false, people down there. But it has a lot of validity to it. Got a dog coming over. It has a lot of validity to it. Looked like a nice dog. I don't want to go over to somebody else's dog and just start petting him and be like, oh, hey. It's kind of creepy. So, obviously there's people out here, but you see this big thicket? That's the perfect place. Because if you can carve a path that you can hide subtly between the other branches, most people are never going to go out there. Look at how thick that is. But if you can disguise the outside to look like this and keep it that way, and then carve a path in the inside, that's another way to do it. Who the hell is going to come by on a regular everyday walk as long as they don't hear anything and just decide to walk straight through these? You really can't. You need a machete. It's fine if there's other people in the area, you just got to be more stealthy about it. Most people don't want confrontation, so, you're out in the deep woods. Not that this is the deep woods, but if you are, they're not going to bother you. Alright, so back to what I was saying. Let's say that that's a requirement. There's some sort of milestone. Picture that there's some sort of milestone to be reached. And once you reach it and you prove it, it has to be done through a test of truth. You actually receive your magic back. Or at least it slowly comes back in a way that you can handle. And what if it's just that no one's ever done it? Or maybe there's those that have, but they don't talk about it. Because once you do, you keep it a secret. Because it's actually the wise thing to do. Until more people wake up. Because you don't want the interference. Look at, I'm a little gnome. Crouch walking, it's a good skill to have. Alright. I found something. And now, what if you knew that that was actually like the real deal? It was the real thing. And that is what happens to those that take the test of truth. It would be healthy and wise to ask, what would I do differently right now? There's a fly on my phone. What would I do differently right now? Little tip. You're walking through the woods. This is your snake protector. You kind of do like a blind person walk. There's a snake up ahead and to the side, they're going to bite the pole first. I've seen rattlesnakes out in the woods, so where I am. All right, just listening to the sounds real quick before I move on. Or you can always point it forward like a spear. Keep it in front of you, especially if it's in the dark. That way you can feel anything out in front of you, so you don't have a flashlight. It's a traveler's tool, walking stick. Keep in mind I haven't been out here yet, so I'm going to lower my voice. Ooh. You should see the holes in this tree. A lot of bugs in that tree. It's on its way out too. I think I had a dream about this actually. Getting a little bit of a deja vu feeling. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, so obviously, if those didn't fall naturally, then I'd say people have definitely been out there, considering it's a walking path. It doesn't look like it's used frequently, although it does see some use every once in a while. This fell over and rotted on its own. I wish somebody did videos like this. I would put these on my TV and just sit there and, you know, take a virtual walk if it was like nighttime and listen to some crazy theories and things like that. Hey, even a walk, taking a walk with a stick, or even without one, it will teach you a lot. That's what I mean about getting quiet and being by yourself and getting out into the forest or somewhere like that, and even just talking to yourself without a camera. All right, one of the wiser things to do, I have to say this. This has a bunch of termite holes and things like that, is to place your stick over the stump. Step on the stump, look down, check for snakes. Right now I don't really care that much, otherwise I would do it. So yeah, I mean, you can learn a lot by just getting out and doing things your way. It doesn't have to be anything stressful. In fact, it's a way to de-stress, so that way you can think properly. You get much better results when you can do that. This also looks like another area from a dream. Except in it, I was standing right here. Nothing remarkable, but geez, I wonder if, oh look, a gnome home. See that? Very cool. You never know. You never know what actually lives there. I believe there's a lot of creatures. In fact, there's a lot of, if you do your research, there's a lot of reports on stuff like that. I don't blame them for not revealing themselves to humanity. Why would you? I don't want to reveal myself to humanity. You ever wonder though, if you really, like, if you were to ever really take that chance, just, you know, take the big risk and get out there with a backpack and supplies and, you know, some food and just camp by yourself. You ever wonder what could happen? A lot of people, their first thought is danger. Danger. Why does it have to be that way though? I mean, seriously, why does it have to be that way? Why is everyone's first thought in this world danger? And how can I stay safe? Staying safe means staying in jail. A prison cell can be one of the safest places around, actually, but you're in prison. If you've locked the door on yourself, yeah, you're going to be safe for a while until your own body fucking eats you. That's exactly what this is like, and that's what I think is going to happen to a lot of people in the future. You probably noticed I'm taking it a little slower today, and I'm just kind of spacing things out. This is for those that want to take like a walk with me, or at least feel like you're here, learn some things, think about some things, and just kind of relax. I don't want anything too intense today. I'm not in that mood anyway. Oh, found some more little houses. Okay, somebody's been out here. Always check for traps. Whenever you go to an area way out, look for old bear traps. Especially if there's deeper leaves. Do not step into those until you're sure. Now I need to find what my exit points are. Look at that tree. Looks tiny on my phone. You should see how big this thing is. Incredible. You have to be real careful of bees though. For the winter, no problem. There's some bugs out here too. But yeah, I mean, this would be as long as you climbed up and took care of some of those branches that could fall on you, and you have good shelter overhead, that would be a great place to start a shelter. An area just like this, actually. And you want to figure out where the water is going to flow, so you don't, like if you do any type of a hill or, you know, underground shelter, you don't want to build at the lowest point most of the time, unless you're trying to create some sort of water reservoir, which can be great, but you really want to go to some sort of elevation, at least a little bit beyond, you know, you just kind of stand back, take a look at everything, see where the high points and the low points are. And another good tree over there. Here's another good setup. 2 trees right next to each other. You can use that for, tie a rope. You can hang your laundry. Put a fire over here. Just be safe about it. You can dry your clothes. Hang stuff. You can work out. They'll give you a pull-up bar and a gymnastics system. You'll be stronger than ever. And if you don't believe me, try it. Working out with rope. It's literally all you need to get a full body workout, and I'm not even joking. People don't even realize all the ways around this shit. But this is what I'm talking about as far as breaking the chains, like seeing, is that really the way? Is all of the complication and the stress that we're told we need in our lives actually necessary? You realize once you go the opposite way that no, it was never necessary. It was a lie. Ooh. We got a little gnome apartment complex over here. Pretty cool. Nice spider tree. See this? If you wanted to get up high, you could build a. If you took the time to do it, you could build a great perch or tree house on something like that. Seriously, just check the bottom and make sure it's secure. Should be. Wow. And look at that. All the dry wood you could possibly want. Rocks right down the way, water down the way. I have some trail mark tape with me, so what I can do is I can mark this trail after I shut this video off. And I can do it in a way that I know how to find it. You just create some landmarks on the way out, and like I said, find your entry points and exit points and see what you can do. All right, now here, this is the back way out. Front way, back way, I don't know. So I got tall grass, so I'm gonna check the grass. Poke around a little bit. See? Now we're gonna go through here. And look at that, voila. Definitely check out the grass over here. And look. It's gonna take a little while. So what I'm going to do is just a sweep. That'll alert anything that I'm on my way. No snakes in the grass. And I have a water source. And cattail. That can be used for fire starting. You can make pancakes with it. You can eat it. The whole plant is edible. Look at that. Some young pine. Not that I want to touch those, but... Okay. So now I remember my point back. I'm going to follow this tree line. It's right in there. And I'll know that by coming to the corner edge of this stream. So if I have to, what I can do is put on some rubber boots. I actually have fisherman's trousers I can take with me in my bag. I can walk out and I can collect and harvest that cattail. And always make sure, because there's certain lookalikes of things, so just double check no matter what. You can even do that on your phone by taking a picture and Google image search, and you should get a rough idea of what you're dealing with for a plant. But it's always good to have a book written by a professional. And I'm talking about somebody who literally does this for a living all the time. They can identify things just on sight. They know exactly what it is, what parts are edible, how much of it they can eat, when it grows, when's the best time to harvest, things like that. Okay, so I gotta make sure nobody actually lives down here. Beyond that, like beyond this stream system, they got some things marked off down that way, but that's good. At least there's some, like if I had to, I have an area to bike over to if I ever needed help, if there was ever like a serious, hopefully not, but serious emergency. You don't want to be completely alone. So I don't fish anymore, but could have been a good fishing area, maybe. Lots of tall grass. Again, wear high, thick, leather boots. Something like that, at least. It's always a good idea to have high top, shoes of some kind, boots preferably. You don't want anything ankle cut. Fuck that. That's the worst thing for hiking. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to get onto the video again. But I have to pay attention so that I can find my way back. So just keep that in mind. And if you were to learn magic, what do you think, how do you think that would actually play out in the real world? Honest answer, if you were going to learn magic, how do you think that would play out in the real world? How would it come about? How would you earn your abilities? Do you think it would be just sitting in meditation constantly and trying to move the wind? Maybe. People have had some success in that area. Would it be trying to manipulate the flame from a candle? Would it be using clay or sticks or anything found in nature to build things that resemble magical items or magical abilities? And maybe learning how to draw and craft first, so that you get really good at visualizing what you want and then you create it. And perhaps if you do it from, this stuff, if you can actually become like the closest thing to a wizard or mage in human form, in the physical world, in the material world, in the mundane realm, if you can do all that, then maybe, just maybe, you unlock the ability to do it for real. And it just turns out nobody's ever truly figured it out yet. Nobody's ever truly committed to it. Or perhaps, like I said, people have. Or many people have. But they just don't share it. And I would guess anyone with the wisdom to earn those abilities in the first place and do what it takes to get them is going to realize, hey, it's just a bad idea to teach this to people. Most people aren't ready. This would be incredibly destructive if the wrong person got their hands on this knowledge. I mean, look at what they've done. Let's say this simulation is run by testers of some kind, and they allow evil because free will is allowed. They're not actually evil themselves, but free will is allowed to take precedence, not necessarily sovereignty. So let's say that's another scenario. Well, maybe they've set up certain terms and conditions that if somebody meets them and actually proves it, like there's no question about it, well, then they get the goodies that come with it. It would have to be a test that would make sure that that individual was going to be responsible, very responsible, and even be able to keep secrets about it. You know, not telling the wrong person what they know or how to do it. I think I may have my spot. It's risky only because I know that occasionally people they might come out here. But even still, I can actually say I'm just out here doing a practice shelter. I do a bushcraft channel. It's not a lie. I do bushcraft on this channel. And I'm showing people how to do this, and then I'm going to take it down, which is no problem. Or I'll leave it, and somebody's stopping by, but I'll just tell them like I'm not going to live here full time. Doesn't mean I don't live there full time right now. When I do, it just means this isn't like going to be a forever thing. See what can be worked out. Just tell them I come out here to practice. I come out here to have peace and to train and help other people learn. If a human being doesn't respect that in a person, you kind of got your answer on who they are. And then you just peacefully leave. All right, well, seeing as they didn't threaten my life, it is what it is. Guess I'll let them have their way for now. And let them continue their reign of terror and greed over all the innocent people in this world who just want to live and have freedom. So that they can have plenty while we have basically nothing. Even though they don't even fucking use it. Really ask yourself, is it right that a man cannot walk around and come out to a place like this and just build what he wants? No one's out here. Nobody's claimed it. Nobody's built anything on it. If you really think that what I'm saying should be illegal, I know you're brainwashed. And I mean badly brainwashed. That a person doesn't have the right to live where they want, as long as it hasn't been claimed by somebody else. More so than anything used, but claiming used to not be a greed thing. Now people just buy tons of land just so they can have it. They do it just to keep making more money and taking more land from people. And this behavior in this world is condoned. Think about that. That's condoned. That's perfectly fine. That's considered moral and lawful. Yet to come out, and people think you're crazy, actually. I've had old friends of mine say, like, you can't do that. I sent him a picture of camping solo in the woods with like a crossbow and a lantern. It was one of my old friends, and he's just like, dude, isn't that illegal? I'm like, maybe, but who cares? I don't know what it takes to explain to people that, like, I don't follow this law because it's an immoral law. I follow the true law, which is the only law that matters. And it all has to do with morality and what's actually right versus what's wrong. No, it's not wrong to come out and just claim a piece of land. You're not taking it from anybody else. You're not hurting anybody. You're using what nature gave you to work with, and you can build an adequate home from everything here. If you can't build a good shelter to give yourself comfort and warmth, some form of it, just to protect you from the elements, protect you from the bugs, so you can get a restful night's sleep. If you can't do that with sticks and pine needles and leaves and roots and rocks and dirt. Understand that people were taught this stuff from a young age. And you were taught it so nobody could enslave you. That means you don't have to live in a village if you don't want to. You don't have to integrate yourself into a big city if you don't like to live that way. What most people are afraid of is fear itself. The thought of being alone out here in the dark is terrifying. I'm not going to lie. But how's that not a test of truth? Most likely nothing's going to happen to you. And if you were honest with yourself about freedom and you wanted the truth regarding that as well as all things, you would have taught yourself to be a great protector. And even if it's just like in the form of self-defense, that's it. You're going to be somebody who's able to go out into a situation like that and feel safe because of their own security. You don't just do this stuff on a whim. And you don't want to be forced to do it when it's too late. If and when shit hits the fan, for real, most people are going to be very unprepared. And staying in the center of it all and getting involved with these groups and even these big, doomsday shelters and off-grid communities is actually a #1 recipe for disaster. If that's your approach and you're out in the open and you have a big channel, who do you think people are going to flock to? They are going to run you over. You think you're smart storing up all these weapons and ammo? That's going to be taken from you. Period. Unless you're that good at it, then hats off to you. Do it your way. But if you need a way out in advance to just prepare, start doing it now. Start doing it now while you don't have to. Just do it for practice. Even just taking hikes and getting out there by yourself and getting comfortable with your own company if you're not doing it already. Just get used to it. But if you're sick of being a full-time job slave and you hate your life and you hate the city and you hate your town and you hate traffic and I don't know what else to tell you besides that's exactly why you're miserable. You just listed all the answers to yourself. I mean, that's awesome. That's a start. But the point is you already know why. I'm going to check out this area. You already know why. So now you just got to figure it out. Is there another way? Maybe it doesn't involve getting out to the woods, but I'm telling you, like, the woods is to date one of the most... Okay, we got deer, rabbits up here. Baby deer or rabbit. It's one of the best ways that I know because, I mean, it gives you free building materials. If it's a forest nearby water, it gives you the ability to stay secluded. And then you stay out of trouble. You actually stay out of harm's way. You just have to get over the fear. It's a test of courage. The more your courage is tested, the more you build your courage. The greater capacity you have for it. Or rather, your capacity for courage increases. Oh. Okay, well, apparently it led me right back to where I needed to be. Excellent. Alright, somebody was drinking a Budweiser out here about, I don't know, over 10 years ago. Who knows? So here we are back to the water. So, okay, so let's take that path again one more time. I'm going to remember the Budweiser can. Hopefully it will still be here. I'll know if that's gone. Somebody's been here. Alright, so we got this little sand bowl over here. We got the water right beyond. Let's count the time. 44, 43 right now. Starting from the woods. Or you know what, we'll go about 44 minutes. Say that's from the water. So if I was to get water... Let's see how long this would take. Oh, quick side note, you can use animal pellets to make pine pitch glue. So, see that? About 25% pellets, 25% charcoal, and if you look at wounded pine trees, you'll see pine pitch. It's like a really deep sap. Usually has like a reddish color. Or just sap in general. You just harvest some of that with a good, just get like a sap knife that you don't mind getting ruined. It's always good to have like sort of a throwaway knife that you don't really care about. So you just collect it, use that to collect the sap. And then you boil all those components, charcoal from a previous fire. Charcoal, pellets, and the pine pitch, and it makes pine pitch glue. So if you didn't know any of this stuff, you just learned a bunch of new basic survival tips today. As I almost trip over a log. Don't do that. That's another tip. It's a good idea. I'm used to doing this. I've been going out to the woods since I was young, but it's a really good idea no matter where you are. Always take a compass with you and always pay attention. I have a compass in my bag. I have all my tools in my bag. So if I wanted to today, I can just come out here and I can just start building, which I might do right after this. Okay, so let's say I set up. Let's say I set up in this area just for a while. It's only to see what I can get going. So let's say I do that. All right, so I take my bike down here. I got my bag, I got my bike. I can ride through all this pretty easily, just pop it up over the stumps if I have to, or leave it somewhere else. All right, so we got about 3 minutes. Approximately 3 minutes walking distance. That ain't bad. So anytime I need water, it's gonna take me less than 10 minutes to go to and, you know, to go from camp to the water, back to camp. So you kind of just learn how to plan this stuff out. And you're like, all right, so that's gonna take that long. Then I can go over here, I can get this, and I got water right over there, so that doesn't take as long. Nice area to exit through. Plenty of cattail to cook. Multiple other things, including mushrooms, which will probably be at the base of a lot of these trees very soon as we're approaching the fall. Acorns, hopefully walnuts, and obviously if you fish, then there's fish too. I'm still undecided on that, so I'm going to go with no for now. I used to fish when I was younger, but I just don't feel right about it. I do have a cast net, but I think I'm going to use that to set up like a workout system out here or something. All right. So yeah, plenty of burning material, plenty of sticks to work with, plenty of trees to set up shelter. I can go further out there and camouflage better. In fact, that would be, see where that tree's leaning? Something like that would be ideal. That gives you a shelter immediately. You see that? Line up your sticks, temporary shelter, or make it a permanent one and build off of that. That's a perfect spot down there. I think. Let's check that out actually. And watch out for bugs and bees out in areas like this. Don't step on any nests. And if you do, run. Simply that, just get out. Jump in the water if you absolutely have to. Better yet, why poke around, right? Just keep it in front of me. Damn. All right, yeah, areas like this, obviously, expect to see a lot of bugs. Ooh. Okay, excellent. But the good thing is the fall is going to be taking care of some of that, and then soon to be the winter. So I can get all this cleared out. Let's see what we got. I can get all this cleared out. This is out of the way of most people, I think. Can set up a shelter right here. I swear to God, I did not even plan this. Like, I found this on the walk live while I'm doing the video. I didn't come out here ahead of time and, you know, try to make it look like I just found it. This actually just happened. I didn't expect it. So look, I clear all this out. And now, as long as I just check this tree, just make sure everything's holding up. Obviously, I mean, look what it's into. It fell perfectly right into the crotch of that, this big ass oak tree, whatever, right here. So that should work. You'll frequently find a lot of mushrooms growing and stuff like this too, where the roots pulled up. Just make sure everything's solid. Probably take these down or use them where they are. And then you're just lining up branches, and then you got, so if you look at, I even have this to start with. Cut off these stubs with an axe, line branches up on this tree, and then, you know, you bury it in with pine and like a tarp if you have it, things like that. You disguise it so that all it is an opening, but there's just a bunch of brush over it. And then either way, that looks, to most people, that looks like a temporary shelter. And then of course, clear out the bottom and all that stuff. I have to pee so bad right now, but I gotta finish this video. I'm just kind of like, you know, I can't wait for this to be over now. But no, I'm not going to cut it short though, just to do that. I want to finish. So I just want to see what's over here. I hope this was informative. I didn't really expect it to turn out this way because I didn't expect to like actually find much of anything while I was filming. So different kind of video. Excellent. All right, so we have a workout area over here. This will be easy to clear out. With all the surrounding trees, actually, you could easily build more shelter over here. Got some good, strong trees. Got another double over there. You can do a lot with this. So a lot of your framing is already there. You just got to look at it and look at the perimeter and what's around it. And then you're building off of that. So you've already got your main posts and your main supports. You could build a friggin' deck off of these things. I'm not even kidding. You really could. I mean, it would be a bitch to haul all the materials, but you could do it from natural stuff. Takes a long time. Over here, let's see. Let's see what we got. I think there's should be another exit out to the cattail pond over there. And, all right, well, if any of you want to come join, I can build a few houses out here. It's going to take months, but feel free to come on down if I know you. I will only tell you where I am if I do know you, and I know I can trust you. So yeah, if you're about to be out of a home soon, or, you know, you're sick of this shit, you want to try to do it a different way, maybe we can work something out. 2 trees side by side, that's another good one. And look at this. Doesn't look like many people are over here. You got a whole perimeter of big ass trees all the way around in a circle. It's like we got the old tree council over here. I think I might do it here. Everything I'm finding is better and better. And again, hey, you get busted. Well, you just learned a bunch of great skills for free. The materials were free. And unfortunately, somebody wanted to be a dickhead and take away your rights to live freely wherever you want. So that's on them to answer for all of eternity. Yep, right out to the pond again, good. I gotta be quiet, I hear something out there. I think it was just a, sound like a goose of some kind. Possibly. I gotta get better at a lot of this too. Like I'm out here all the time, just it's one day at a time. It takes time. It really does, but you start to learn to recognize these things, and that's a great skill. Look at that. Look at that. So take my advice, please, on this. Why try to force? Oh yeah, I definitely had a dream about this. Holy shit. Why try to force things that aren't meant to be? Plenty of good timber out here. This is awesome. A lot of it's dry and on its way out too. That's what I prefer because, I mean, yeah, it doesn't hold up as good, but it still works. Good fire material, actually great fire material. On top of that, I don't have to feel bad about cutting them down because they were already being deprived as it is. All right, look at this. Another area right in here. Excellent. And more fallen timber over there. Over there, plenty of building material. We got it. I have a road that leads down here. All I got to do is take my bike. I can hide my bike. Then I just look like a guy. If anybody even spots me to begin with, if I'm down by the lake or anything like that, then I just look like a guy who's just, you know, maybe fishing or on his bike taking a ride or walking or something like that. Again, worst case scenario, even if they do call the authorities, you just go, all right, well, time to move on. If they really want to take down all your hard work and your craftsmanship, you know they're scumbags. So you just leave it at that. And key to this is having a good bag. I mean, all I got today, this is enough to work with. I can get anything I need with this one bag. But to have a really good backpack. And I think a fast transportation system, like, again, a mountain bike or at least something like that, just in case. If you got to get somewhere in a pinch. So if you're looking to save money and you don't want to be a bill slave anymore, or a tax slave or a wage slave, sell as much stuff as you can. Use the rest of it to make into other equipment that you need. Start making your own stuff. Get rid of all your junk, donate it, sell it. When you're ready, have some money saved, quit your job, have some investments just in case. Have a good backpack with everything that you need. If you can get your entire lifestyle into one backpack, you've done a great thing. That's a skill worth learning, especially with what's coming. I know it's going to take a while and people probably still aren't ready to believe that, you know, things can actually go really, really, really south. And I mean really south. Very quickly. It can happen overnight. Sort of like the CEO you-know-what virus. The whole world, and I mean the whole world, can change in an instant. It can happen. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm saying it can happen. And in the event that something like that does happen, to avoid getting roped into any of these false communities, basically being roped into anything you don't want to get on, you know, that way you don't have to get on any new government program, which is already planned well in advance to capture people, just like everything else. If you don't want to even chance having to do that, to have your needs met, start now. We're in a time of peace right now. For real. Look at it that way. We're in a time of peace. This is the calm before the storm. I repeat, this is the calm before the storm. Don't wait to get out on the life raft or the rowboat when the storm hits. Don't wait to go out to buy a life raft when the storm hits, because you won't be able to find any. Get it now, get it in advance. Just get a good, modest setup or build it. Practice. The forest doesn't have to be your area, but I'm pointing out why it's one of the most effective. It's been proven. It's as old as time. If the desert is your thing, then have at it. If you know those survival skills, Please teach me someday. But, I mean, that's a lot harder than this in some ways. But, you know, it might be different for you. So just practice it and apply it your own way. But learn how to be as self-sufficient as possible. That is my absolute best advice. No one is going to win by playing by the rules of this system. Keep that in mind. That is an impossibility. The system does not care about you. It takes everything for itself, including you if you stay in that system. That is you giving your consent and me giving my consent. All of us. It applies the same to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a real being or not. If you give your consent over to this system by using its gadgets all the time, as I'm doing right now, and by clicking the accept button constantly, it is what it is. You've made your choice. It doesn't matter what the outcome was. You made the choice every step of the way. So step in the other direction is all I'm saying. Learn to really take care of yourself. Be your own doctor. Be your own dentist. Be your own craftsman. Be your own tailor. Be your own guardian. Be your own way shower. Your own survivalist. You could do all of these things with enough time and patience and practice. And along the way, I'm going to help break this down into the most simple, effective, easy to follow way that I can. Just pick up on little things that I'm saying throughout the videos and then start applying them. You're going to remember these things because you'll remember, oh, the time he was over there in that video and, you know, he almost tripped over the stump and then he found the place that he wanted to set up a shelter. Oh, and then, you know, a few weeks later, he had a shelter up and he built this and built that and showed me how it actually worked. And, you know, this is his system and this is how he did it. Well, now I can take some inspiration from that and go do that on my own in a different way. If you can, cash in your vacation time or take your vacation. It's a cycle that's meant to keep you in it. All work is a loop. It's a means to your end, not a means to an end. Learn to work for yourself. Find as many ways to not need the system as you can. And any money you do have for emergency, save it. Save it. Have it on reserve and don't give it away to anybody. Don't do what I did. I'm not doing that again. Cashing out on my friggin' investments and screwing my financial future to hell. That's something I had to learn from. It's great to help people, but you're going to need some of that reserve money for later. At least several grand. And again, look how quick that is. I got all the rocks I need. I have buckets, I have bags. I have foldable buckets. Those things are awesome too. Load up all your rocks. You can get clay at your site or down here. A lot of times you don't even need it. Just stack them. Just friggin' stack the rocks. Dig holes if you gotta. You can build fire systems in the ground. Just protect the roots. If there's trees nearby, just make sure the roots aren't getting burned. Line everything with stone. Take the time to get a good workout in. Grab 2 buckets and load those things with stone. Do curls and do shrugs on the way back to your site and sprint sometimes. Do stuff like that. You'll get your workout in for the day. You'll probably be friggin' jacked by the time all is said and done. You live out in the wild, I guarantee you start to look like it. And if you're a man, that's a good thing. Actually, if you're a woman, that's a good thing too. So you set up your water purification system, however you want to do it, or just have a pot to boil in. And I can already see fish if I had to. I could fish here. I can get protein that way. I can dunk my buckets in here. I can carry both pails back up to my site. And then I fill my water reserves. I make a few trips. Plenty of water. I can cover them. I can throw salt in there. I have iodine tablets. There's obviously other ways to do it. Boiling. I can boil it little by little and store it in a basin. Literally, I mean, you can buy these huge jugs at whatever material you want. The more lightweight, the better, but you can actually get like a water reserve and bury it into the ground that has a cap and everything. It keeps it pure, it keeps it fresh. Probably not be a bad idea to boil it again after a while, just to be sure. But that's how you get your hydration, which is the important thing. You'll have shelter. I showed you how to find shelter if you didn't know already. You need tools to do that. Unless you really want to do it the hard way, I don't recommend it. But, and then you can take food with you. There's plenty of things you can fit in your bag that will last a long time. Packets of tuna, packets of salmon, you know, things like different veggies that you like. Get dried veggies, get dried mushrooms, get all sorts of things like that that come tightly compressed into a bag. Prep ahead of time. Get like at least one tote of like food storage going, and then, you know, keep that at your main site, or if you have a home base, and then refill your bag from that, or interact with society a little bit, but keep it at a minimum. If everybody, not everybody, because I know not everybody's going to take the time to actually do this, probably very few, but if at least a few people actually get out and do this stuff and really learn it for real, then we all can meet up and be mobile. And now everyone knows what they're doing and nobody's a hindrance. Everybody's gotten their lifestyle to a minimum. Then we can go to things together. We can travel together. We can go to, you know, like meetings and things like that, or whatever comes up. And how do you know that something isn't just waiting for that to happen? To see who's actually got heart, to see who's actually going to do it. And then how do you know things won't be revealed completely? Well, now that you've done that, that was a requirement. You are the only people on the earth that actually took the time to take as much self-responsibility as possible. You were the ones who actually created freedom for yourselves. You were the only ones who really, truly did it. I'm not saying that's the way it's going to be, but it's a possibility. It's just a different way to look at things. Just because it hasn't completely worked out yet doesn't mean it never will. So in the meantime, let's keep it simple. But in order to have these group meetups, if it's going to last long term, every person in those groups needs to be as self-sufficient and independent as possible. That way there's no parasitic activity going on. We have too many things to deal with here. Everybody's got their own plate of stress. So the more people can become self-reliant, the better. The better the odds, the better the chances we have of victory for all of us. So if you want to join me and start a team of traveling superheroes, maybe take some of this advice and work on it. And then later we'll talk.